Welcome, everybody. Josh here with Windy City, back with another episode of the Perception Evolution Project podcast that we started this year. Got a special guest today out from Nashville, Tennessee. He is the CEO of a company called XOi. Name is Aaron Salow.
Yeah.
Aaron Salow. It is a very, very intriguing product that he's got here, and plays right into what we talk about on a daily basis and what I talk about. True practitioner of changing the perception of the service industry by putting eyes on everything. Welcome, Aaron. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Well, I just want to kick it off. I know you're a little strapped for time, so we're going to try to breeze through this, but I really wanted all my viewers to get a chance to see this, meet you, know what you do, because I think above and beyond anything in this industry, your product and what you do needs to get out. So I don't really believe in the term business to business. It's really more person to person. So I want to talk a little bit about you to begin with, just so people can understand who you are, where you came from, and how you got here. So tell me, who is Aaron Salow?
So grew up, to take it all the way back, in Michigan. So blue collar Midwest state.
What part of Michigan?
Born in Jackson, raised in the Lansing area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, born into a family, both generations of blue collar workers. Grew up with my dad as an entrepreneur in manufacturing, and my grandmother had a farm that we played on. Growing up, and the reason I go back that far is I started running machines in the family manufacturing business at 15. So physical labor was always part of the equation for me, and I remember my dad telling me, if you can run this chucker as fast as the guys I have over the summer, I'll pay you $7.25 an hour, like I pay the rest of them. And I was like, wow, that's big. I got to make that happen. And so we would run these screw machines. They're basically Brown and Sharps, all handheld. Insert and exert of the machine, and so you were 4.5 pound drill bits in and out. I got jacked that summer. I was hawking steel all day. But I think that the reason I mentioned that is it's at a perception of blue collar people and the work that it takes to physically and mentally beat your body up all day long, and kind of. I think it's an important thing. I don't hire anyone in my business, for example, that hasn't at least done some sort of physical job at some point in their life. And even though we're building technology, I think it builds a level of character in somebody. So I feel like I learned what hard work was about, and that's part of kind of, I think, what you need to do.
Absolutely. And really, there's only one way to learn that too, is by doing it. You have to do it.
Yeah.
The people being given things a lot these days. I think that it's super important that people make a valiant effort to put in as much work as necessary, physical and otherwise.
Absolutely, yeah. So kind of been in my blood, as far as kind of the blue collar environment, as well as entrepreneurship, and so my career path has taken a similar place as far as manufacturing and construction, and whether it was building clean rooms for the Department of Defense or manufacturing suspension components for heavy truck. It's just kind of been a part of who I am. So on the professional side, that's now I'm being in a technology company, running a technology business, a lot more office time, but just about a year ago I sold it, but I rebuilt a 74 Charger. I'm rebuilding. I just had our first child. He's 4.5 months old, and so
congratulations!
Thank you. So rebuilding my motorcycle, my first motorcycle that I had when I was 9 years old, right now. And so all that to say, it's still trying to get dirty on the weekends. And
it's in your blood. You can't not.
Yeah,
right?
There's something about working with your hands and stepping back and saying, I just did that, built that, fixed that, whatever the case may be. That's very rewarding, and it's something you just can't get in front of a computer all the time. It's just a different thing. And there's different rewarding things about what we do now, of course. Extremely passionate about it, but there's something different there. So, but yeah, as far as me personally, it's kind of professional side, or who I was there. Nashville, Tennessee now, most of my family in Michigan. Married my high school sweetheart. Been married for about 10 years.
Nice, so did I.
We just cool. Yeah, those things really work out. I have a little sister who just turned 17, and I think about a year ago she liked a boy, and she's like, well, it worked out for you and Stacy. It's like, look, that's super rare.
Yeah.
Like you kind of gotta go. I understand that, but yeah, don't pin your hopes on this dude being your guy. But it is rare. It's awesome when it does happen and it works. We've been married for almost 11 years, and we just had our first little boy who's 4.5 months old. So. Yeah, that's a little bit on that. Love riding motorcycles.
What's your boy's name?
Yeah, Jackson Christopher. Yeah. So it's like been missing him this week being gone, but get to go see him late tonight.
Oh, very cool, cool.
Yeah,
we I just had my first little girl 2.5 years ago, and I got one on the way coming in May.
Nice.
Little girl. So. I know I work 14 to 18 hours a day here now, but probably be pushed to 20.
Yeah.
By that point.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, congrats on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're outnumbered in the house.
I'm
already,
officially outnumbered.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's there's nothing more rewarding. And
it's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, describe to me the mind frame and the daily routine when you were in like the developmental or the startup, days. I'm a big firm believer that nothing in life worth having comes easy. Mm-hmm. Translated, it means honestly, you have to work until you can't work anymore to be successful in the ways that you want to be successful if you have that drive.
In anything.
Yeah.
Right. Anything worth it is hard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And in business for sure, relationships, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about anything in your life that really matters.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And it's relative, right? It's what matters to you, and
right.
it's how much value you put on your goals, your dreams, your accomplishments, and that's relative to how hard you have to work for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think the motivation in which you get up every day is determines success or failure. I think we were talking about Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. I can guarantee you, without knowing those guys personally, that money isn't the drive for those guys. Any of those guys, right? It was to be disruptive or change the world in some way. And the money follows when you're excellent at whatever craft you're in. So I guess as far as mind frame, I think if we apply that to XOi, to me the reason we started the company was to disrupt an industry and solve a big problem. And doing so. And so we talked about the skilled trades gap from the very beginning. I watched my grandfather, as a farmer, he passed away a few years ago. The last 15 years of his life, he needed help getting out of a recliner. My dad's had, multiple surgeries, fixing a shoulder, a knee. To me, a lot of the inspiration was how do we, it's 20 whatever at the time, 2018 today, how do we use technology to fix that problem? Why are people in the field that's 65 years old?
Yeah.
And started thinking through kind of, their hands and feet and legs and back are destroyed, but they still have a really, brilliant mind.
Yeah, of course.
And how do we leverage that? And that was kind of the impetus of the glasses, the smart glasses, and the kind of approach to fixing that problem. I think you had to have the mind frame of solving a problem, understanding it inherently. And then the kind of secondary component is how do you pull together the right people to accomplish that?
Yeah.
How do you iterate and learn? People ask me what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur, and I certainly have a lot to learn. I learn every day, but I think you make just enough more good decisions than bad, because you're guaranteed to make bad decisions and have failure points. Mm-hmm. But it's the will to take those and internalize those, learn from them, and keep going.
Absolutely. I'm a big advocate for failing, and I think I believe that the failure doesn't exist. It's only learning experiences.
Yeah.
As long as you keep going. The only time you fail is when you give up.
That's it. Yeah, it's the single most important characteristic of anyone trying to be in business, I think, is will, period. Mm-hmm. It trumps everything else. Education, experience, is the will to keep driving, because most people go, no, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is
wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
And I think some people are naturally wired that way,
mm-hmm.
and I think that, but I also think it can be learned, it can be adapted
mm-hmm.
to it. But you have to find what you're passionate about. You have to find what gives you that will, that determination to get up every day and do what you want to do. If you're stuck in a cubicle doing something that you hate, 8 hours a day for 60 years, then it's tough to find the will.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you have to know yourself and know what you want to do.
Yeah. I thought I was motivated until and worked a lot and driven until I had a kid too. Looking at him, it's like a new gear.
Yeah.
In terms of just driving. And I think that, it's driving to an opportunity to also create time to spend with him and make sure he also sees, someone that's driven to be excellent.
Yes.
Because no matter what you do in life, like we were talking earlier this morning, I mean, it's be the best at it.
Be the best.
So,
that's absolutely right.
That's good.
So, any advice for anyone out there with an idea or a startup? Somebody new to entrepreneurship.
It's really interesting. We're going to live in a world where you can test ideas pretty cheaply, and see what the market's willing to what problems they have, and if they're willing to use whatever idea you have to solve them. Mm-hmm. And whether you look at what's happened with 3D printing, you look at software and how easy it is to iterate and create kind of base products that you can kind of see if solves the issue. So as far as technology perspective, there's a lot of tools out there to test an idea and see how it works and be willing to pivot. But you always have to have that lighthouse in mind. And so what I mean by that, I had an advisor early on that talked about a lighthouse, and he kind of put his hands like this, the lighthouse is at the top, and said, you're going to zigzag. You should, as an entrepreneur or someone that has an idea that's building something, but you don't go outside of that. Right. It's okay to go back and forth within the confines of that lighthouse, but if there's a problem that you identified and that you understand is really impacting an industry, a market, or the case may be, iterating inside that's okay, as long as you're not breaking through that wall.
That's a great way to look at it. I've never heard that before.
But yeah. It's focus.
Yeah.
It's really, what's interesting is it's really, really rare for new entrepreneurs or startups to have focus.
Yeah.
You would think it would make a lot of sense to focus so you can be excellent again at solving a problem for a market. At XOi, we focus 100% on the mechanical, electrical, plumbing industry. We could apply this technology to healthcare, manufacturing, just a variety of different industries. We turn away anyone that's not in those spaces. And the reason for that is we feel like with a small growing team, you can't be excellent if you're trying to serve a bunch of different masters, so to speak, or markets. Because the product iterates, and I built a feature or something that matters for healthcare, but it left out all these other folks.
Right.
Or I'm fixing a bug or a problem that happens for these 5 customers, but not anyone else. Also, we can't learn how to effectively solve their problems as the market evolves if we're focused in a bunch of different industries. So the advice I would say would, allow yourself to fail and iterate quickly, have a focus, right, and the will to understand that this stuff is not easy, and you're going to work hard and for free, and it's going to be really, really freaking hard. And
I think that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Everybody, or I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people have this again, a perception that being an entrepreneur or a business owner, be your own boss, make your own hours. No, you know what? The business makes your hours. The business makes you. You have to be all in, and you have to be willing, like you said, to do the things that you should never have to do. Mm-hmm. You need to be willing to go above and beyond every single day. And that's the only way that a startup or any business works. And I think that any entrepreneur that's ever been can back up that statement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Be willing to sacrifice. Yeah. And to drive it forward. And I've heard that, friends or people I talk to, it's like, yeah, man, I'm going to call my own shots and start my own business and delegate. It's like you have no idea what you're stepping into.
Right. It's a whole different animal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how about a good work-life balance? Everyone here on this podcast knows how much I work. Mm-hmm. I know that you've been in the position that you are and what you've done, what you're still doing. I'm sure that you put in a lot of hours, probably travel a lot. What kind of advice or how can you talk a little bit about having a good work-life balance? Yeah,
so I think, from the perspective of when we started XOi, there was at the time I was running a division that designed and sold clean rooms for a construction company and making pretty good money. And when I sat down with my wife and said, hey, I'm going to stop making good money. Actually, I'm not going to make any money for a few years. Her ability to support me and know that was a fire inside of me that I wanted to drive forward was huge. And so the reason I bring it up is the work-life balance needs to start with, the important people in your life, girlfriend, wife, whatever, kids. Set that expectation from the beginning and make sure that you have their buy-in. I think as you start off an entrepreneurial journey, I think that you are not a good entrepreneur. You can't be the best entrepreneur you can be if you've got strife at home, strife with unset expectations. I mean, I think that that's the first step. Yep. And I have an incredible wife. We've been really blessed. That's my best friend and was incredibly supportive of that. So, not to say it wasn't hard, but last year when I did 80 flights, it was. She's gotten supportive to that and understands she's a career person as well. She's a RNFA at Vanderbilt Hospital and works in surgery all day, so she gets it. But I think that's step one. In terms of work-life balance, otherwise, I think it's about batching your time and making sure that you're spending the important times with the family. Yeah. And for me, my son being 4.5 months old, I get to see him in the morning, and when I come home, I have a fairly strict policy that from the time that he's awake, that I'm home at, if I get home at 5:30 and he goes to bed at 7:30, I'm shut down for 2 hours. And I go back to work at 7:30. Yeah. But the goal is to put the phone away and spend those 2 hours just with him. Yep.
I have implemented pretty much the same thing with my daughter. Sometimes I don't get home till 5:30. She goes down at 7. And that hour and a half, I eat dinner with her and my wife, and that's my time with them during the week.
Quality
the weekends,
time.
The weekends I try to spend a little bit more time.
Of course,
sometimes I have to jump on my laptop, whatever it may be. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about expectations and having somebody that understands that that's who you are and accepts you for that. Because that's the same thing with me. I am wired to work, and it's just that's me, and the thing that makes it all work is that my wife is not only understanding of that but supportive of that.
That's right.
And I want my daughter to see that too. I want my daughter to, and my future daughter, I want them both to be able to see that I succeeded because of this and this, and I have to practice that. But I think you can still do that, as long as you're all in when you're with them, and you're all in when you're not.
Agreed.
So, no, that's great.
One thing I started doing recently, you might find interesting, is so I started an email account for my son, and I write him to his email at least once a week, and I'm going to give him the password when he goes off to life, whatever that is, trade school, college, whatever, at 18, right? When he graduates high school, I'm going to say, here's the password. And I'll have 18 years of emails to look at.
That is cool. My wife she told me something about that, and I completely forgot all about it. Yeah. I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think I'm going to go home today, being Friday, and I'm going to open up that email account, and I'm going to write her, and I'm going to open one for my other daughter. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I got so excited when she told me about it, and then I think I went back to work.
Yeah. And the reason I bring it up with work-life balance is just, I think, the opportunity to express why you're doing, what your why is, and what you're doing. I mean, it's funny, when he reads it someday, it's going to be the personal, stuff about what we did. Hey man, I took you to the park today, we did this, you laughed for the first time, here's a picture, here's a video. But also, my wife teases me because she's like, well, what'd you write to Jackson? It's like, well, I just had a negotiation on a contract and told him all about it. She's like, he's gonna think it's hilarious, but it's business stuff. It's whatever,
everything.
I just awesome. Write him, and I think that's something that you can do to help your kids understand your journey when years they may not remember, what's going on and kind of things you struggle with.
The years they won't remember, and then the years then after that follow that they won't understand.
That's right.
And then I think that's such a great idea for when they reach the point where they do understand. Yeah. And they can tie it all together, and that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So very, very cool. So tell me, what do you enjoy most about what you do now, and what's the most difficult part?
So, I think the thing that I enjoy most right now at this stage in the business, and the most difficult part, are tied together, which is the thing I enjoy most is pulling together people on our team from all different walks of life, backgrounds, parts of the country, perspectives, worldviews, and creating something from nothing. Mm-hmm. It's powerful to see a team come together and work together and solve a real problem and really care. I think the thing that I think, I'm really proud of all the failures I've had and will continue to have today in a business. One of the things I'm really proud of is I think the culture that we have is super passionate people about our customers and what the problem they're solving and how they care about getting them to the promised land, as we say, right. Making it happen. That's exciting, and I love seeing that take place and people growing, in those opportunities and saying, man, there's someone from Baltimore and LA and New York and totally different perspectives coming together, didn't know each other before, and now saying we're a team and we're going to go do something great together. Yeah. There's something really exciting about that. The hard part is finding those people and finding, the people that will fit and going through that process of weeding out folks that won't too. Yep.
Got to kiss some frogs, as they say.
Yeah. So that's difficult because people interview well, say the right things, and it's tough. You got to get them in it.
Yeah. No, and I'd just like to point out, spoken like a true entrepreneur. When you first started this answer, you'd said, the what you enjoy most and the most difficult part are often the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's true for a lot of entrepreneurs is that, they enjoy the journey. They enjoy the challenge, mm-hmm. And I think that I just wanted to point that out. It's something that I noticed when you first started talking, and because I'm the same way, I like to challenge myself. So everything that I enjoy is hard.
Yeah. And part of the hard part of it too is allowing other people to do to raise your baby. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. As they say, there's a lot of trust there, and you got to bring in people that are smarter than you and better than you. Any success I've had has been, I think the thing that I'm most talented at is finding people smarter than me and putting them in a room. That's to say that what's made you a successful leader, finding really, really good people.
I say the same exact thing. It's so funny. There's a lot of similarities between me and you that I'm finding here is, I've always said the key to success is surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you. And I never understood how people could have the type of ego to have to be the smartest one in the room, because why? What do you gain? Nothing. There's no advancement. You have to have people around you that are smarter than you in one aspect or another.
And what you've done, if you want to look at the analogy of, hey, we want to take over the world, or we want to grow a business, what you're effectively doing is you put yourself on an island with no place to expand, because scalability and ability to repeat processes won't happen if you're constantly the smartest person in the room handling all, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and being able to leverage people's expertise in critical functions is really important to growth. So. Absolutely.
So one thing I asked all my guests, and I think I asked you this earlier when we were sitting down, and I think so. I already have an idea of what your answer is going to be, and usually I tell people that I'm going to challenge you, but I've heard you talk now for the last 30 minutes, and I don't think I'm going to have to challenge you on this at all. But why do you do what you do?
Yeah. So to me, there's an additional answer too that for me is important to know that we didn't talk about, and my faith is important to me. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it. I think there's an excellence that I think God asks us to have, and I believe that's an important piece of why I get up every day too, because I think this life is short, and excellence within it is it's not about money, it's not about notoriety, it's about I'm going to be excellent for that reason. So that is something that's important to me personally and a driver for me. But in terms of business, and what drives me to success, I think, try to achieve success is really solving a problem, a real problem for people, and doing it with a team of people from all different parts of the country and world as we start to add international, and doing it in a meaningful way that really, you don't look back on your life and go, look at all this money I made. Look at how popular I was. I think if you look back in your life and say, I really helped people. Yeah. You don't lay in your deathbed and go, man, look at this cash, look at my statement, look at my Twitter follower. I don't know, whatever the case may be. So was I able to leave the world a better place than it was when I was there, and was able to serve people in the process? So I would say my faith guides it, and certainly, solving a real problem and really impacting people's lives for a positive is the thing.
Good.
So I would say those would be the top two.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, as the CEO of the company, I'm sure that you have your hand in just about every department. But what's your specialty? You had mentioned you like to bring people together, and organize the teams. So is it more of an HR? Do you enjoy HR? Do you enjoy the customer service, the sales? What do you enjoy the most about it?
Yeah, I think tying into the problem resolution. I think probably the thing that I enjoy most is seeing a company leverage what we do and seeing it impact them in a positive way, individuals in a positive way. So I'll give you an example. We had a technician recently who worked in crazy hours, and over time, by leveraging our system, he's been able to get home faster to his family, faster to his kid's ball game, his daughter's recital, and he kind of told his story, and he kind of choked up, talking about it, and it was like, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah. There you go.
And same thing with, we've got a couple customers that have virtual support centers. I've had some emotional, old burly blue collar guys get emotional on us, but guys that don't have the back and knees to earn a living anymore, but a brilliant mind.
Yeah.
And so we've got customers with these virtual support centers. They got big flat screen TVs like this, and they basically support young technicians all day. They can't climb a roof anymore. And we've seen these guys, actually be able to extend their careers, because otherwise, when your only way of making a living is with your hands, there hasn't been an option for you.
Right, you're done at that point. You're
send them out to pasture, and these companies are able to say, hey, we have opportunities for you to support and use your brain.
Yes.
And it wasn't available before. It was either you get in the truck or the van and go to the rooftop and get this thing fixed, or sorry, I don't know what else.
And that's one of the reasons why I see this product as so valuable, because there are so many minds out there without the bodies to support them anymore, that all that knowledge, it's useful. It can help me, my company, my customers, my employees. It can help everybody that I want to help, which is one of my objectives, is to I like to be a procurer of success and distribute that success to those around me, customers, vendors, employees, friends, family. I like to enable success in people, and that is one way to do it, is to get these techs with all this experience and share their knowledge and expertise with those who are learning. I mean, it can just propel the advancement so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I know we're running pretty close here, so I'm going to try to breeze through some of these here. So the product is really innovative, and it's a niche. It's very market specific.
Yep.
Where do you get the drive or the passion for this, and why pursue this market? You had mentioned only electrical, mechanical, plumbing.
Yeah, MEP. Yeah. So part of it was, when we started the business, we piloted with 42 different companies that were all over. And this whole idea of kind of having a lighthouse and wandering in the wilderness to get there. We piloted with anywhere from insurance companies to big automotive companies to healthcare businesses.
So there was a process in finding this market.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. There was always a blue collar approach to it, meaning all these industries, it was the portion of the business where men and women were out in the field working.
Right.
Sometimes we'd be working on a piece of medical equipment, or it'd be working in a factory on something. So that was always within the lighthouse, but it was it wasn't defined from day one. MEP space, ride or die. It was let's see it. And I think the reason that we kind of solidified on that space, I know the reason is that field service workers, for one, are remote, and so their ability to gather information is harder. So in manufacturing, if I've got a problem in a factory, I've worked many years in them, I can typically get information pretty quickly. I've got a computer close by, I've got a supervisor, I've got a colleague that I can leverage. In the field, a lot of times you're alone. Most of the times you're alone and you're remote. And when you're trying to find information and try to really gather the information you need to be successful, it's much more difficult. And so I think MEP became a focus because the need was the largest, based on just the kind of logistics of the role, of the market, and so the skills trades gap is impacted that industry, I think, more than others because of that reason. Mm-hmm. I think that also in the MEP space, it's a really interesting skill set that you have to have. You have to be able to not only be good with your hands and mechanically sound. You have to be intelligent. You have to be good with customers.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
I mean,
Jedi Master of Humility, as I like to call it.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I think about when I ran machines in a factory, I didn't have to talk to customers. I sat there for 10, 12 hours a day and ran a machine. Right.
Yeah.
And there was a physical attribute, and there was a mental attribute for sure. I mean, as you started to learn more about fixing and diagnosing problems, and some similarities there. But the field service worker in MEP space is asked to do a lot.
Yes.
And
our techs can attest to that.
Yeah, a lot of skill sets.
Yeah.
And so the ability to democratize knowledge and share information, right information, right people, right time. To us, it's more than a tagline. It's really what our software does. And so the ability to be able to do that for someone impacts this industry significantly. So that's a long answer.
No, that's all right.
That's how we got there, and
it's fantastic.
Where the pain was the biggest.
Very cool. So kind of answered that one. What do you hope the companies will gain really from using this technology?
I hope that companies gain the opportunity to empower their user base to decentralize information from Joe and Jerry and Sally, who know everything, and be able to communicate more effectively internally and externally. And I hope that, and we kind of talked about the two things I always hear when we talk to a mechanical company is, what sets you apart? I always ask that question. Mm-hmm. And it's integrity and honesty, and we have the best techs. I think that the value I hope the companies get is they can take those two mantras and foundational aspects that have got them to this point and leverage technology in a new era to expand upon those. Whether that's sharing content with the customer, whether that's building a knowledge base, whether that's being able to put a 35-year veteran on the shoulder of every technician that's out there through virtual support. Yeah. That's really where I hope companies can continue to expand, is giving people job opportunities, expanding their knowledge, and ultimately allow them to communicate more effectively internally and externally.
Such a useful product. I mean, there's just so many different perspectives.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah. So, what are you doing to market the glasses? How are you telling people they exist? Do you utilize social media, or is there I know you take a lot of meetings, face to face.
Sure. So in terms of marketing the business, I'm a big believer in providing value. Mm-hmm. And I think that if you're in the podcast business and you are here, you probably know Gary Vee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gary Vee wrote a book a few years ago called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Mm-hmm. And I think that idea makes a lot of sense. If we're providing value that doesn't even mention XOI, I think that people understand that we focus on the industry, we understand it, and if there's opportunities for us to help beyond that, we can. So our approach is always value. You talk about some of the blog posts of mine that you read recently. We very light use of our mention of our company, if at all, in some cases. And I feel like from a marketing perspective, they're educated buyers out there that do lots of research, and old sales and marketing techniques just don't make sense, yeah. Right? And people are busy. If we can provide true value to our customers, potential customers, we'll earn them. And then I think the other piece of marketing, and people don't talk about it, is marketing is really having an elite level of service for your customers. That's the best marketing you have.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. And if you forget about that, and it's just about churning product out, you'll eventually get burned out. So. Yeah.
You are a remarkable human, and you guys are going to be very, very successful. There's not a doubt in my mind that you're going to make a huge, huge difference in not only this industry, but everything that you do. Just from gauging your responses, just fantastic. So I'm going to close it up here pretty soon. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest misperception in the facilities industry? Explain specifically on the service side of things.
Biggest misperception. we talked a little earlier about the misconceptions or perceptions that happen are really based on the perceived mystery in what service technicians do.
Uh-huh.
It's very similar, I think, to the auto mechanic industry.
Yes.
People, the distrust that happens is because people they don't understand. You're like, hey, you're starting to show pinhole signs of rust in your heat exchanger. I can stick my pin through it. This is going to be a problem for you long term. You explain something, you go, so how much is this going to cost? I don't understand. And so I think a lot of the misconceptions are just around the perceived mystery, or the stuff is difficult, right? Yeah. And so I think
fear of the unknown. If you
it's I would say that's, and so I think there's people that get, we talked earlier, there's finger pointing that happens because of really just ignorance on what it takes to fix something or how something's done. And so whether it's vendors pointing at each other, customer pointing at the vendor, I feel like that's one of the big things that we're attempting to solve, is just the visibility and transparency. And I think what it's going to do is, for example, I know you do things with integrity. How do I know that after not knowing you for very long? Because you're talking to XOi.
Yeah.
Because as one of my customer put, this is my moment where I'm not going to cuss, but I'm going to say something that could be off color. One of my customers said, he goes, I love about your technology is it allows us to go full kimono. Right? He's like, it's just, this is what we do. Yeah. You can see it, and we're going to open it up, and it's going to be really clear and transparent. And I think that is something that hasn't been there, and so it's created a lot of misconceptions about what's being done. And frankly, there's some contractors out there that don't do the right things.
Yeah,
I've heard some crazy stories, guys, taking a compressor out of a system, taking down their van, spray painting it, being like, here's a new compressor, and putting it back in. The compressor was never bad in the first place, right? Unbelievable stories.
No, I've heard some too, and it's just some of them you can't even fathom. At least people with our mindset, we can't. I don't.
Well, it goes back to your why, right?
Yeah.
How much was that worth to that person?
Right.
And is that worth, not to get too, long term with this, but at the end of your life, your career gone, I made an extra what? Yep. By screwing people over.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just, gosh, it's not worth it.
No, and you know what? It's an example that I have too of this same thing is, we also sell equipment. We don't just repair, we also sell it. But we sold a customer an oven, had like 16 service calls over the first year that this oven was in operation. Manufacturer eventually refused to keep covering it.
Yeah.
Said that it was customer caused. It was a customer's responsibility. Us as the service company, we knew, number one, we sold them the oven. We had to stand behind it. So we continued to warranty that oven. And we knew, I've known this customer for years and years, and what the manufacturer was saying I knew was incorrect. And it was an unfortunate circumstance, but they continued to have problems with this unit. So we actually took it out and bought them a new one. It was about even 8 months after the warranty had expired.
Yeah.
But the way that I'm built and the way that everybody here in WCE is built is that we need to lay our head on the pillow at night and know that we did the right thing. Because somebody once told me that if you're ever stuck in a decision, just do the right thing and everything else will work itself out.
Absolutely. And think about that. Is that customer ever going to go to anyone else?
I don't think so. They were very, very appreciative, and that's the other thing is, we surround ourselves with the customers.
Do the right things. Things happen. Yeah. You build trust. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So aside from using your product, what do you think the service companies can do to change that perception? Perception
of not doing the right thing?
Right.
Yeah. Well, wow, it's
a tough one, huh?
It's a tough one, yeah. Gosh, I mean, you could. I think there's probably something to be said about how you build culture, and the kind of people you bring in, and being able to have effective ways to get feedback about their work in the field from your customer base, and being able to use that feedback to make sure that you're building a culture and team where, like you said here, there's no other option. So I think nipping those things in the bud quickly, and being able to address those things, getting a feel for how people are with customers, getting feedback directly from them. I know one company I work with, I mean, the first 6 months of any new technicians kind of time at their company, they'll call at least one of their customers a week. So how was your experience? Just want to make sure, and if they start to hear things like that, rude or late or this or that, and just being able to help that person either grow, and get them to a place where they can be the technician you need them to be, or get them out, and
it's a great practice.
Yeah, and it takes time.
Yeah, right.
It takes time. It's hard to do, but I thought that was a really interesting way to kind of build and fight that misconception about the industry, is making sure that you're handling yourself with integrity and doing the work to check that that's happening.
Great. So that is a perfect answer. So do me a favor, Aaron, plug your company, let people know how to find you, where to go.
Sure.
And then I'll do our outro and you can get out of here.
Thank you. Well, first off, thanks so much for this opportunity. It's great getting to meet you face to face. I appreciate it. You can find us at XOi.io. It's XO.io. And hopefully we can work with you as a company and your field service management software to really supercharge it and get the right information to the right people at the right time. And that's effectively what we do. And we're excited to work with companies to help them be more efficient and sell more, and hopefully start to chip away at that skilled trades gap that's getting after all of us. Yep. By really kind of democratizing knowledge, and making more information more readily available for more people. So that's XOi.
Awesome.
Yep.
Aaron, thank you so much for being here. You guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out our podcast. Sign up for our newsletter. You know the drill. Thank you so much for being here and for talking to us.
Thank you.
One of the more exciting podcasts we've been able to do.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Appreciate it.
Fun shit, huh?
That was good, man.
Yeah,
it was fun. Thank you again.
No problem. Thank you.
It's great.
I mean, honestly, it's what I try to do here is align my company with other companies that have the same viewpoint. And I think that keeps everybody in that lighthouse.
Yeah,
going in the
absolutely.
same direction. So,
yeah, agreed.
Very impressed.
Well, hopefully that was, I found that valuable. I'm glad I could participate again, and I appreciate it. You even got gold microphones, which I haven't mentioned yet. This is pretty slick.
Also, Jake's.
Everybody likes the gold ones.
Yeah. No, this was really cool. I'm gonna we're launching the service channel integration next month, so I've got that monthly expense. I gotta let that cool down. But I mean, I want to get you guys in here.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know. Let's stay in touch anyway, and I'm going to make sure. Definitely. I'm going to tell my marketing team to share your stuff.
Who's your new guy that reached out to me?
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
Is he new?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Good.
Found me on LinkedIn because I wasn't responding to his emails.
And so he's trying to get in touch with you.
He's a cool dude, though.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Yeah. That's like I said, one of the most challenging things is just building that trust in those new folks and getting them off and running and trying to make sure they understand how we do business. And
it's hard.
It is really hard. But once you see them start to get it, it's really rewarding.
And once you find the ones that are superstars, you gotta do everything you can to hang on to them.